Say it ain't so, Fox Next. Say it ain't so. Already, we're getting reports now. It's official. There's some bugs with Domino. Well, you guys know that the X-Force is near and dear to my heart, but it's a little bit frustrating that as of the the fourth release, I might be wrong, could be farther back, of a unit we're getting with some things that aren't functioning correctly. Let's think. It was Ironheart, check. Ebony Maw, check. Black Bolt, check. To the point where it's going to be interesting how they resolve this in a way. So, question is, did she get nerfed? Is it something that we should be upset about? I don't know. I'm kind of a mixed set of emotions here. Let you guys decide for yourself. First things first, if you guys are just tuning in, let's go ahead and pull this up so you guys get an idea. So on Reddit, Zeke's, thank you for the communication. Wanted to talk a little bit about some of the issues that we had. Obviously, there were some things about sound that came up, but more specifically was the two issues with Domino. First, her passive, Lady Luck, was supposed to reduce the enemy's war speed. Supposed to reduce their speed on war. Again, this is specifically to counter teams like Black Order, teams like Asgardians that spawn with speed bar increases. So what happened is basically on war offense, they were not giving the opponent the 5% speed bar reduction on spawn. This means that they were acting outside of order. Now, she did that for the entire enemy team, so effectively her entire team was going 5% faster. So it's been rewritten because they can't fix it. So that'll actually be a 5% speed increase for X-Force members. Okay? That's where the question of a nerf comes in mind. Now, again, very few people probably were going to use her outside of her team, but her being an event character, there might be some people who didn't go hard on the offers. Don't have Cable and Deadpool leveled up. I'm thinking of mostly new players who might have been able to find a niche that used her on a war offense. That being said, theoretically, on teams like Asgard, they should already be working as intended. Now, other bug is basically if you use Fire in the Hole and the entire enemy team is stealthed, then the game crashes. So, very specifically, that would work negatively on you if you were using them to conquer Asgards. So, I think we have to take a look at kind of how we got here. So, if you guys aren't familiar with the passive, let's take one more look at it here. Then we're going to talk about whether we think it's really a nerf. Lady Luck. On war offense, reduce the enemy speed bar for all enemies. I think you can't reduce 0 below 0. I think so. What was happening is on teams where they had no speed, I don't think it was doing that. So on spawn, it wasn't working as intended. It may not even been affecting anybody because the way the calculation worked, that was happening before the enemy team. So there's always that order of operations that we've talked about. So where the gray area for me lies is I've got to tell someone who their first interaction with this game is if I think Domino's a good character. So on her team, she's a great character, but as a standalone character, do I think she can function with another team? Well, there was a lot of people hypothesizing that they could use her on some other speed teams where they were actually reducing the other teams and getting to go first, potentially doing things that the team wasn't meant to do. Again, there's a lot of theory crafters out there that have been kind of eyeballing this character. A lot of them are free to play who have to use with what they're given. So the fact that this is only X-Force is where the perceived nerf comes in. And then the fact that she comes out with, a bug, shouldn't be a surprise to us. In fact, I have a feeling there's going to be some other bug kits out there when we talk about the way the percentages work and some of the speed as it's being applied. Again, speed's a very slippery slope. We talked about that previously. And again, if you're reducing speed, then increasing speed down the line is something that is harder to do. So, I don't know. I feel like I went to Reddit. I reviewed a lot of the posts. I think there's definitely some responses here that kind of, most of the community is upset about this. I am biased. I am part of my brand. The X-Force, Remen X-Force, is really dependent on this team being good. I went pretty hard on them. I used all my 5 red elites to get a 6 red Domino to build up my X-Force to make sure they're ready to go for the next event that we have coming up. And I don't think I have any regrets yet. My concern is with the way they've been debuted, shown off, and kind of the way the team's been interacting. I feel like it has a chance to become the X-Farce. And I really want to think about that, guys. I mean, as you guys look and read the comments in this video, is this the X-Force or is this the X-Farce? Because they don't do what they're supposed to do, and they don't do it well enough to make it worth the investment. But I think we're going to have a community uproar. So, my official take on this is we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. If Fox Next simply says, hey, we'll apply it to all allies, then maybe all schools will be happy with that. Again, obviously, the net result's going to look to be the same for the most part. So, again, we're looking for your comments. Tell me what you guys think. Again, I don't think it's a nerf per se, unless you're talking about using her outside of her team, which then I'd have a hard time arguing with that. I can see how some folks may consider that way. Still have hope for the team. I'm still excited for the rest of the X-Force, and I think they're going to be, on paper, the team that beats everything. So, for the next week, you have been warned. Do not use fire in the hole if your whole enemy team is stealth. That will cause a crash. Okay? And until the rest of the team is out, don't try using her on a helter-skelter assembled X-Force hybrid team. I know some people were hypothesizing using them as a X-Men team. There were a lot of different things out there that people were talking about using her with Ultimus and Korath and the like. Again, so her usefulness as a standalone character seems to potentially have been nerfed. I don't see it as an overall nerf. I think the 5% plus and the 5% minus are close enough that they're going to function against the teams that they were intended to function against. However, we'll have to see how this plays out. Again, Fox Next. This is character release number 4. We haven't been that far from her actual launch that we should be seeing these issues come up. And again, the whole X-Force functionality hinges on a lot of details in text here. So I'm not quite sure if you guys got it right. That's the problem, right? I'm not quite sure you got it right. How do I know the negative 15% is working? How do I know? I don't know. Let's go into some of the other X-Force kit. I'm a little concerned now. Negasonic Teenage Warhead. How do I know the damage is being applied correctly? How do I know I'm getting, if this goes +5 speed bars and not duplicating it, it's not going to overwrite each other, right? And I don't believe so. I think each source is counted differently. So I'm not necessarily worried about that. And then more importantly, looking at the rest of these kits, I think the only one I'm worried about would be X-23. Then her Feral Rage. Making sure it's actually repeating the attacks as targets die. I don't know. We'll have to see. Unfortunately, we can't test the full team yet. I really don't know that we should panic. Again, I think they're going to be able to be that 150-pound sledgehammer to beat every team they want. So go X-Force. Please comment below. Let me know if you guys think this is a nerf. We'll go from there.